Welcome, my dear learners, for this course on dynamics of machines. In this module 3, we were discussing on governors and gyroscope. In our previous lecture, I introduced you people the Hartnell governor, and also we have derived expression for spring stiffness of an Hartnell governor. Continuing our discussion, in today's lecture, let us solve numerical problems on Hartnell governor. The problem number 1 of our discussion on Hartnell governor states that each ball of a governor has a mass of 1.5 kg attached to one arm of the bell crank lever. The other arms of bell crank lever lift the sleeve against the force exerted by the spring under compression. Length of ball and sleeve arms are 125 mm and 75 mm. Fulcrum is 90 mm from the axis. Maximum and minimum radii are 115 and 75 mm. The sleeve begins to lift at a speed of 300 rpm. Maximum speed is 6% greater. Find the spring stiffness and equilibrium speed for 90 mm radius. If I list out the data given for the Hartnell governor, what we are discussing for problem number 1, the mass of balls attached is specified, that is 1.5 kgs. Mass of each ball is 1.5 kg. Length of the ball and sleeve arms are specified. Length of ball arm is x, length of sleeve arm is y, which are 125 mm and 75 mm respectively. X stands for ball arm, y stands for sleeve arm. Fulcrum is at a distance of 90 mm from the axis. So mean radius is also specified, that is 90 millimeters. The maximum and minimum radii are also given. R1 is minimum, R2 is maximum. Minimum is 75 mm and maximum is 115 millimeters. The sleeve begins to lift at a speed of 300 rpm. So sleeve is starting to move up at a speed of 300 rpm. So at that point we have minimum speed N1, which is 300. The maximum speed is 6% greater, which means that N2 is equal to 300 plus 6% of 300. Find the spring stiffness. So it's asking us to calculate the spring stiffness and equilibrium speed for 90 mm radius. And what is the equilibrium speed N for mean radius of 90 mm. So this is what he has specified for us. Now if I draw the line diagram of the Hartnell governor for the given conditions, we have axis of rotation, and we have mean position in which we have a sleeve at which the radius is 90 millimeters. The mean position, mean radius is also known to me. And now at maximum position, the ball should move outward and sleeve should move inward. So this is at maximum position. So this is at maximum position. The sleeve will move upward and balls will move outward. At the minimum position, the balls will move inward like this. Ball will move inward and sleeve will move downward. Sleeve will move downward. So this is the mean position. This is the fulcrum O, and we know all the radius. We know R1, we know R 90 mm, and we know the radius R2 at maximum speed, for which we have balls at these positions. So this is the given problem for us. Now I want to find out what is the spring stiffness and also what is the value of speed at mean radius at 90 mm radius. Let us solve this problem. I know the value of n1, I know the value of n2. So therefore I can find the value of fc1 and fc2. So if I move for solution of this problem, so since we know n1 and n2 and r1 and r2, we know that centrifugal force fc1 is m omega square r1. So therefore fc1 will be 1.5 into 2 into pi into n1. N1 is 300 rpm by 60 whole square into radius r1 is 0.075. Substitute the value of radius in meters. If I solve, I'll get the centrifugal force as 1.5 into 2 into pi into n1. N1 is specified as 300 rpm divided by 60 whole square multiplied by 0.075, which is turning out to be 111 newtons. So similarly, if I calculate FC2, only changes I should substitute N2 and R2. So let me substitute and solve to avoid confusion. So if I do that, it is 1.5 times 2 into pi times N2 is 6% of 300. So 300 plus 6% is 6 by 100 into 300, which is 318 by 60 whole square into radius r2 is 0.115. Hence fc2 for this problem will become 1.5 into 2 pi n by 60. 2 into pi n is 318 divided by 60 whole square into radius is 0.115. So fc2 is 191.3 newtons. So if you clearly observe, he has not stated anything about mass of the ball to be considered and also obliquity effect. Whenever he has not specified anything about obliquity effect, we always neglect the obliquity effect and mass of the ball for analysis of Hartnell-Governor. This I have clearly explained in our previous lecture. So hence neglect the obliquity effect and also the effect of ball. If I do that, we know the spring stiffness is given by 2 times xy by whole square into fc2 minus fc1 divided by r2 minus r1. So this is the expression which we have derived in our previous lecture. If you have forgotten, kindly revisit the previous lecture. So now I can find directly what is the spring stiffness. So spring stiffness is turning out to be 2 times value of x is 125, value of y is 75. So here I am substituting in millimeters because these two will get cancelled each off. That is, units will get cancelled off, millimeter by millimeter. Square multiplied by fc2 191.3 minus fc1 111 divided by r2 minus r1. So here I should substitute in meters. So r2 is 0.115 minus r1 is 0.075. So if I do that, I get the spring stiffness as 11,152.78 Newton per meter. So this is the value of spring stiffness I obtained. So we are done with the spring stiffness. Now I want to calculate what is the value of n for speed of 90 mm. If you carefully observe, RPM is present in FC. So therefore I should find what is the centrifugal force at mean radius of 90 millimeters. In order to find the centrifugal force at mean radius of 90 millimeters, in our previous class itself I have given the important note to you. So if I recollect the important note what I have given about the centrifugal force, we know that between the spring stiffness must be constant, right? So this must be constant whether I calculate between the mean position and minimum position, or I calculate between the mean position and maximum position, or I calculate between the minimum and maximum position. So if I equate all these positions for stiffness, I get an expression as between mean and minimum. It is Fc minus Fc1 by R minus R1. This must be equal to between minimum and maximum. It is Fc2 minus Fc1 divided by R2 minus R1. Between mean and maximum, it will be Fc2 minus Fc divided by R2 minus R. Now use these two equations to solve. If I use these two equations, I can get the value of Fc. So Fc will become Fc2 minus Fc1 by R2 minus R1. That is 191.3 minus 111 divided by R2 minus R1. That is 0.115 minus 0.075 multiplied by R minus R1. The value of R is 90 mm. That is 0.09 minus R1 is 75 mm. That is 0.075 plus Fc1. This must be added with Fc1. Fc1 is 111. So therefore, I will get the value of Fc as 191.3 minus 111 divided by 0.115 minus 0.075 into 0.09 minus 0.075 plus 111. So the value of Fc is turning out to be 141 newtons. Now I know the value of Fc, which is 141 newtons. Fc is equal to m omega square r. So which I can write it as Fc is equal to m times 2 pi m by 60 whole square into r. M omega square r. So if I substitute and solve, I get the value of speed n. And speed n for this problem will become Fc is 141. This must be equal to m is 1.5 kg into 2 into pi into alpha x divided by 60 whole square multiplied by r. Radius is 0.09. If I solve, I get the value of speed at mean position as 308.6 rpm. 308.6 rpm. So the speeds are at minimum speed is 300, mean speed is 308.6 and maximum speed is 318 rpm. And also the radius, if you observe, minimum radius is 75, mean radius is 90, maximum radius is 115. So the results are meaningful. What I mean to say is that at minimum position, the centrifugal force is 111 Newton, which is less than the mean position centrifugal force 141. So these two are less than the maximum centrifugal force, that is 191 Newtons. So results are simply meaningful, hence the answer is correct. So this is the solution for problem number 1 of our discussion of Hartmann governor. Now if we move for problem number 2 of our discussion, we have the mass of each ball of a spring controlled governor. Spring controlled governor is nothing but Hartmann governor, is 1.4 kg. The bell crank lever has its vertical arm 90 mm and horizontal arm 40 mm, which is ball arm and sleeve arm. The distance of fulcrum from the axis of rotation is 45 mm, that is mean radius. The sleeve has mass of 7.5 kg. The sleeve begins to rise at 220 rpm. The rise of sleeve for 6% rise in speed is 8 millimeters. Find the initial thrust and spring stiffness. Let us solve this problem. If I restore the data given for problem number 2, the mass of each ball is specified which is 1.4 kg, and we have the boron and silver as 90 millimeters and 40 millimeters respectively. The distance of fulcrum from the axis of rotation, that is mean radius, is 45 millimeters. The sleeve has a mass of 7.5 kg. So capital M, mass of sleeve is given, which is 7.5 kg. The sleeve begins to rise at 220 rpm. So it is starting to move up from 220 rpm, which means that is the minimum speed. Let us take it as the mean speed for which he has given the radius of 45 millimeters. So we know the value of n, which is 220 rpm. From that point it is moving up. The rise of speed for 6% rise in speed. So n dash is specified, that is 6% rise in speed, that is n plus 6% of n. How much? 6% rise of speed is how much? 220 plus 6% is 6 by 100 into 220, which is nothing but 233 rpm. For 233 rpm, the rise, that is h2, since it is moving up 8 millimeters. Find the initial thrust, that is S is equal to question mark, we call it as S1, let us call this as N1, and spring stiffness is also not known. Now if I draw the line diagram for this Hartle Gardner problem, we have axis of rotation like this, and we have the mean position specified as the fulcrum, and the sleeve is moving 8 mm upwards. The sleeve is moving 8 mm upwards. So ball should move away from the center. Here we have balls. Now this distance is known, which is 45 mm, and this distance is not known to me, which is R2. Now let us call this as A, B, O, C, D, O. Let us call it like this. Without knowing R2, I cannot proceed. So therefore, and one more observation is that the vertical arm length is X and horizontal arm length is Y. This you people already know. Now these two are similar triangles, that is ABO and CBO. So therefore, if I move for solution from triangles ABO and CDO, we can write. So this length is already known to me, 8 mm given, correct? This is 8 millimeters given in the question. 8 millimeters. So therefore, I can write hypotenuse into opposite side should be equal to hypotenuse into opposite side for these similar triangles. So therefore, what I can write? So AB is how much? AB is R2 minus 45. Opposite side is R2 minus 45 divided by hypotenuse is X. This must be equal to, this is 8 mm. I call it as H2 by Y. So therefore, I will get the radius of rotation at a speed of 233 rpm, which is turning out to be alpha x minus 45 divided by x is specified 90. This must be equal to H2 is 8 divided by Y. Y is how much? 40. So if I solve, I'll get the value of R2 as 63 millimeters. I substitute everything in millimeters, hence the answer must be in millimeters. This is meaningful because R2 is greater than 45. So we are solving between mean position and maximum position, hence I will call it as, to avoid confusion, I want stiffness and mean position. Spring force, let me call it as S1. Spring stiffness, let us call it as small s. Small address as spring stiffness. This is at maximum position N2. This is at mean position N. So this is what we are solving this problem for mean position and maximum position. Now for mean position and maximum position, neglecting the obliquity effect, we know what is the formula for spring stiffness. That is, the centrifugal forces are equated, so multiply load by 2 x square by y square. That gives us spring stiffness. This you people already know. Between mean position and maximum position, we know what is spring stiffness. That is, spring stiffness between these two positions depends on centrifugal forces. Hence, first let me calculate the centrifugal forces. Fc1, which is equal to, it's nothing but Fc, because for mean position we don't have suffix. 1 stands for minimum, 2 stands for maximum. If I won't write anything, it stands for mean position. Fc is equal to m into 2 pi n by 60 whole square into r. R should be in meters. R should be in meters. The value of R is 0.045. So similarly for maximum position we have Fc2 as m times 2 pi n2 by 60 whole square into r2. If I substitute these values, mass is 1.4 kg, 2 into pi into n is 220 rpm divided by 60 whole square must be multiplied by r is 0.045. 0.045. So I will get the value of Fc as 33.44 newtons. 33.44 newtons. So now the change R2 is 0.063 and N2 is 233. So if I solve, I will get the value of Fc2 as 52.51. 52.51 newtons. Hence I can find the stiffness between these two positions. That is, spring stiffness will become 2 times x by y whole square into Fc2 minus Fc by R2 minus R. So if I solve, I get the answer in Newton per meter. That is 2 times x by y. What is x by y? 90 by 40. Both are in millimeters. No worries, limit will get cancelled. Into 90 by 40 whole square into Fc2 is 52.51 minus Fc is 33.44 divided by R2 minus R. R2 is 0.063 minus R is 0.045. So if I solve, I'll get the answer as 27602. 27,602 Newton per meter is the spring stiffness. Now we want to determine what is the initial spring force. That is here, what is the initial spring force at B? So at D, what will be the spring force? That is mg plus S divided by 2. Here the spring force will be mg plus S1 by 2. Don't get confused with S. Yes, we are using it for stiffness, but here I am using it for mean spring force, which is in newtons. Don't get confused. For stiffness, I am using the notation as small s. Small s stands for stiffness. Capital S stands for spring force. Spring force. So to avoid confusion, let me use small s so that people will be avoided with confusion between capital S and small s. Capital S is used for spring force in Newton, small s is used for spring stiffness in Newton per meter. Now I want to find out what is the spring force exerted. To find what is the spring force exerted, it is in mean position. So we are neglecting the obliquity effect and effect of ball mass on spring force. So therefore, if I take moment about point O, I refer with only force here, that is Fc, and force here mg plus s by 2. So take moment about O for mean position, that is to find initial spring force. To find initial spring force, take moment about O for initial position. For initial position. If I take moment about O for initial position, this is causing clockwise moment, this is causing counterclockwise moment. Hence it is force into distance is mg plus spring force by 2 into distance is y. This must be equal to Fc into distance is x. So force into perpendicular distance, force into perpendicular distance. One is clockwise, one is counterclockwise. Now substitute the values and find the value of initial thrust. So formula for initial thrust S will become Fc is m omega square r into x by y into x by y whole multiplied by 2 minus mg. So therefore initial thrust will be how much? M omega square r. M is 1.4. Here I am setting it as omega square r is for mean position. It is 2 pi n by 60. It is not 2 pi n2 by 60. It is 2 pi n by 60. We are solving for mean position. That is our initial position. That is 2 into pi into n is 220 by 60 whole square multiplied by r. R is given 0.045 into x by y. X by y is left to you to substitute in meters or millimeters because these two units will get cancelled. This must be multiplied by 2 minus mg. Capital M is 7.5, G is 9.81. So if I solve, I am getting the initial thrust as 76.9. 76.9 nearly equal to 77 newtons. So the initial thrust is 77 newtons. So this is solution for problem number 2. So we have discussed two numerical problems on Hartle governor in today's lecture. One important note you should remember is that we have not yet addressed the problems on friction. So there is also friction when sleeves moves up and down. This you people already know. For maximum position, we take friction as positive because friction force will act downward with gravity, in the direction of gravity. Whereas for minimum position, we take friction force as negative because it acts against the acceleration due to gravity. This I have clearly explained. So whenever is specified the frictional force, you should consider the frictional force and solve for maximum position. So like this, for maximum position. When you solve it for position 2, you should add friction force, that is mg plus s2 plus f divided by 2 is the force acting here. Whereas for minimum position like this, at minimum position here, the force acting will be mg plus s1 minus f whole divided by 2 is the force acting here. You should take that and then you should take the moment and solve and address a problem having friction to be considered and also considering obliquity effects in our next lecture. That's all from this lecture. Thank you all.